Hello, sawubona mbukeli sesifikile thina nohlelo Yilungelo Lakho. It's your right. Sinilethela lona bukhoma phela la kumahamba phambili SABC 1 eMzansi for sure. Mina ke mbukeli ngingumajali uAlisha igama. Remember, you can also be part of this program by calling us on the following numbers: 011 714 6918 or 714 6919. You can also email us your thoughts to consumer@sabc.co.za. Alternatively, visit our Facebook page or tweet me at Alisha Jali #Yilungelo Lakho. And please note that on today's show, we are deviating from our usual format to turn our attention to the recent spate of xenophobic attacks that have generated widespread condemnation and threatening South Africa's reputation across the world. Yebo mbukeli namhlanje sithe masikhulume ngobubi bokuhlukunyezwa phela kwabantu bamazwe angaphandle, lokhu esekunameke iNingizimu Afrika ngelikhulu ihlazo namahloni. Sanibonani babukeli. Mbukeli abaningi eNingizimu Afrika nasemhlabeni wonke jikelele basathuke kakhulu ngendaba yokuhlasela kwabantu bangaphandle kwaleli. The spate of violence against foreign nationals has left South Africa with the difficult task of rescuing its international reputation. Today on Yilungelo Lakho, we look at the impact of the recent week's attacks on foreign nationals, the integration of foreign nationals, and also what needs to be done to ensure that South Africans and the world never ever again experience these incidents. And now to tackle this issue further, let me extend a very warm welcome to Mr. Strike Tokwane, who spent many years in exile in various countries. And from our Durban studios, masamgele ubhuti Mthembiseni Thusi, yena ke ukhulumela umbutho ubunye bamahostela nezakhiwo zawo. Uhlezi lapha yana ubhuti Ephraim Meskele, yena omele abamazwe angaphandle. And on the line, we hope to be joined by the ANC national spokesperson, Mr. Zizi Godwa, joining us all the way from Grahamstown in the Eastern Cape. Gentlemen, a very good afternoon to all of you.
Good afternoon, Alicia, and to the viewers of Yilungelo.
Gentlemen in Durban, senamukela bhuti Mthembiseni, awuke nje usichazele kabanzi ngokuthi inhlanganiso yenu imeleni bhuti bese upha ubhuti Ephraim ithuba naye.
Sanibonani majali nabalaleli. Inhlangano le engize ngayo la ubunye wamahostela emele amahostela onke alapha eThekwini.
All right, and Ephraim, can you please also tell us about your organization, sir?
Okay, Ephraim Meskele, representing Ethiopian community in Durban.
All right, but Strike, you've traveled all over elana emazweni alana eAfrica, but i-struggle sakho saqala khona eBotswana naseZimbabwe. Usichazele kabanzi ngejourney yakho ukuthi wa accommodatewa kanjani wena yilamazwe.
Let me start by expressing condemnation to the widespread attacks on people from outside the country who have actually come to stay with us. That was unfortunate. It was unfortunate in the sense that it also repeated itself because it happened in 2008 and it happened for the second time. So we must condemn that with everything possible. As a youngster, I left the country in 1977 after the 1976 Soweto uprisings. I didn't know where I was going to, but I ended up in Botswana, where I was received first by the villagers. That's where you interact with ordinary people who understood the cause of our situation and immediately took us to the police station because that's where you have to report. And when you get to the police station, they actually want to know why you are here. You have to explain yourself. We had to write our biographies. I've written a piece in the Sowetan today, page 4. We have to write our biographies detailing why we ran away from home, the dangers, we had been arrested, were facing prison terms, long prison terms, or just being killed. So the authorities in our host country was very sympathetic and took fingerprints, took photos, gave us kind of ID numbers, and immediately took us to our communities, because we also existed in small communities, in safe houses. And this is where they take you to your own organization. If you belong to the Black Consciousness Movement organizations, that's where they take you. If you belong to the PAC, that's where they take you. If you belong to the ANC, that's where they take you. So that you can now be with people you know, and you understand why you are all here.
All right, let's go back to Durban and find out. Putimtu, wena usichazela ukuthi kahle kahle inhlanganiso yenu ithini mayelana nama-violent attacks on ama-foreign nationals?
Mhlambe kuba kuwe Majali nabalaleli nabahlala basemahostela. Mhlambe okunye besifuna ukuthi sicacise ukuthi mhlambe okunye ufuna sikwazi ukuthi mhlambe uba yi-foreigner kusho ukuthini kukodwa. Ngoba uma ukubheka ngokwami ngibuka mina ukuthi mhlambe kwalapho sithi ukulahla khona ukuphambana khona ekuthenini mhlambe uma usuka uya kwelinye izwe mhlambe ngathi England ngiyakholela ngokwami ukuthi mhlambe la okufale khona ngibizwe nge-foreigner, but uma ngiya kwelinye izwe la eAfrica angiboni kufanele ngibizwe nge-foreigner. Okusho ukuthi ke ngenye indlela kwalapho ukuthi ukuphambana kwele ngicabanga ukuthi thina njengobunya uma siyakubuka ukuthi khona i-misunderstanding leyo, kodwa okudinga ukuthi abaholi uqobo lwabo babe seduze nabahlala nabalapha ekuhlaleni phansi emazingeni aphansi bakwazi ukubanika i-idea noma isithombo sokuthi ngampela kuba yi-foreigner kukodwa kusho ukuthini. So kodwa-ke njengobunya amahostela sithi thina chaba futhi imbube noma isilo samabandla sishiyo lapha emabhida ukuthi wonke umuntu akathathe izikhali zakhe ayibeke phansi kukwazi ukuxoxiswana. Namanje ke nathi sisakusho kuvele nakhona eqaleni sasivele silokhu sikushilo ukuthi asiyeke ukubulala noma kukhona lapho singaboni kahle khona asixoxeni sizokwazi ukuphuma nani nesixazululo, ngoba ukubulala umuntu omunye umuntu akukho lapho ukusiza khona. Kepha mhlambe ubona wena ngelinye ilanga usubona sekhala komunye usubona ukuthi engathi liningi iphuthe ngilenze esikusho thina ukuthi uma kuya ngoba kunenkinga ezikhona let's sit around the table. Uma sihlala around the table nesiqiniseko sokuthi ikhona into esingaphuma nayo ekwazi ukwakha. Ngisho ngaleyo ndlela ke kufanele silalele ukuthi uhlanga lomhlabathi lutheni. Uthe uhlanga lomhlabathi asibeke phansi izikhali xokisana abafuthi bohambi lokho sikusho nathi.
Buti Mthambiseni, mawuzwa mubalalela abantu mhlambe kwinhlanganiso yenu bathi izathu lezi ezenza ukuthi kwenziwe lokhu mhlambe ngabe zidalwa yini? Sizwile many reasons throughout the weeks, but sifuna ukuzwa ngawo ukuthi ngempela yini le abakhalaza ngayo abantu.
Mhlambe Majali nabalaleli kubalekile ukuthi lokho sinenkinga lapha eSouth Africa yokuthi uma kuyiwa emkhankasweni wokuvota bonke labaholi usuka kuyilokhozi emakhanseleni kuya kwemalungu eParliament kwisifundazwe kuze kuyofika uhulumeni omkhulu basondela endaweni emabranchini bazofuna amavoti. Kodwa uma kuya ngoba sekushaya isikhathi sokuthi sebevotele bayabaleka, yingakho ubone ngathi kuba nezikhalazo abebheka uhulumeni omkhulu akwazi ukuthi umongameli nethimba lakhe bezwe izikhalo zabantu ukuthi kwenzakalani bayabaleka. Esikusho-ke ukuthi-ke abantu sinasinxusa yena izikhulu njengoba u-government noma u-president ethe kune-task team kanye nesilo sikushiyo lokho abehleke labo bantu beze kubantu phansi bazofike balithole iqiniso ukuthi ngampela kungani bethi labantu bohamba ababadinga. Hayi ngoba bengabadingi kunezenzo abayibuka kubona ukuthi benza ongekhona okufanele. Ngicabanga ukuthi mhlambe ke nesilo sasibuka izinto ezifana nabantu babuke into efanayo nale ukuthi khona izinto engahambi kahle. Sinxusayo thina sithi ke abaholi laba noma ithimba leli akele ukuhambela phezulu akele lize phansi emabranchini lizokhuluma labantu ebese lithola ke ukuthi kungani bangezwani nabantu laba ama-Afrika amanye bazokuthola iqiniso.
But Ephraim, let's find out from you there, what are your worries or concerns as foreigners, specifically in KZN?
Okay, thank you very much. What we experienced, foreigners, especially Black Africans, experienced such cruel attacks for own brothers and sisters. here in the continent of Africa, which we never expected. We came here by expecting to be protected, to be safe and secured for our concerned safety and security by our brothers and sisters, or black sisters and brothers. But the response became today, in this day, became death, getting burned alive, killed as brutally as animals. So that's what touched me and what affected me. In fact, what I expecting from South African government, the people still now, let me forget about what happened before, but today, I expecting a reintegration and bringing people to work, to survive again. That's what I'm expecting from people of South Africa and the government.
Thank you so much, Ephraim. We'll get deeper into details about the reintegration of those foreigners. Let's now speak to the national spokesperson for the ANC, there, Mr. Zizi Kodwa, who's joining us on the line all the way from Grahamstown. Zizi, a very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us, sir. Please just tell us, where does government stand in terms of xenophobia, and what initiatives are you embarking on? We've seen marches throughout the week. Sibonile abantu bezibandakanya nokulwa against xenophobia. Awusixoxele kabanzi bhuti. Zizi?
Hello?
Yes, Zizi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Oh, ngicabanga ukuthi ukhona omunye umuntu okhuluma naye.
No, I'm talking to you, Zizi. Please go ahead.
Morning lesikhathi. Usho ukuthi i-problem ekhona eSouth Africa ngesinye isikhathi siyakhohlwa ukuthi historically le ngxaki sinayo iqala kuphi. In Africa, in all the other countries ezakhuleka ngaphambili, whether you're talking about Zimbabwe, Ghana, nazo zazinayo le ngxaki sinayo. In Matebele, where people were pushed out because they are not originally from there. So ingxaki ye-xenophobia generally in the African continent. At one country, one way or another, iba khona lo ngxaki, but in South Africa it's unique. Ngifuna ukuqaphela ukuthi iqale esiphingo ngokuthi a business owner, when workers in South Africa were on strike, yayothatha the price scam labor. And we've been trying to deal nalento ukuba we can't find reasons zokubulala abantu on the basis of bathatha imisebenzi for whatever reason. And the business of South Africa nayo too must not take advantage lento yokuba kunabantu who come from other countries who are desperate for economic opportunities, bafuna umsebenzi, bathathe bafakwe outside of the labor laws of South Africa. Nanto into yenza ingxaki. Okwesibini, yilento ye-business, small business regulation. Kaloku South Africa kubhatalwa i-tax and everything else, the business must be registered. Iba ingxaki ke ngenye ixesha xa kufika umntu avele abeke ivenkile yakhe unregistered, lo mntu akabhatala i-tax, and you don't know in terms of health standards whether ezo nto are being regulated. Ithetha ukuthi ke loo nto lento ke ngoku ingathi iyaphela lento. We've got to go back. The president wabeka a team of ministers. We must look at some of these issues so that if again lento ingaphindi yenzeke, small business, yazi ukuthi wonke umuntu afuna ukwenza business in South Africa, whether it's South African or coming from outside of South Africa, will follow all the regulations and meet all the requirements of any business. So we must create abantu abanza umsebenzi osomashishini ukuba lento scam labor is not right, because yenza umsindo, especially xa ufaka abantu kwi-space sabantu abakwi-strike, because i-strike eSouth Africa isemthethweni, it's legal to be in strike in South Africa. Awukwazi ke because Zizi is on strike and then take people illegal, but also below the standard as setwayo in terms of umthetho of South Africa. Sibona ukuthi ke okwangoku we have the responsibility, all of us, njengasithetha nangoku kunemarch eGrahamstown throughout the country. Abantu base-South Africa, they are voicing in one voice ukuba bona bahambisana nento eyenzekayo, which is good for the country. And I think if you look at these elements, abantu bambalwa abangcolise igama lase-South Africa, izawuthatha ixesha lento for us ukuba i-country to get back our reputation. Ilimoshile igama lethu, but working together nabantu base-South Africa, on the continent, singayiphinda siyigele i-confidence abantu baphinde basithembe.
Asibeke lapho ke zizimbukeli yithi sijikeleze ngaseyitolo umbuzo wethu namhlanje uthi can South Africans afford these xenophobic attitudes? Nawe ke ungabe ingxenye yendaba yethu ngokuthi phela usishayele ucingo ku 011-714-6918 or 714-6919. You can also email us your thoughts to consume@sabc.co.za. Alternatively, catch us on Facebook or tweet me at Alisha Jali #Yilungelo Lakho. We're back after this. Remember to take part in this discussion. You can call us on the following numbers: 011-714-6918 or 714-6919. Our email address is consume@sabc.co.za, or catch us on our social media platforms. Strike, you've traveled all over the continent. Please tell us about the damage that this does to the actual reputation of this country, especially South Africa, who's seen as a big player in the continent.
Yeah, let me say, before I get into that, explain that it is the duty of the government to regulate the entry of people coming into the country. Everyone who comes into the country must be known by the government. There must be laws governing that. And there must be laws that govern how people stay in a particular country. And these laws are consistent with the United Nations laws, because there's regulation all over. There are charters that govern the people. So it is taken that people will be moving around countries and live nicely with the people. But as soon as it appears that the visitors are not being handled properly by the people of a particular country, I think the whole continent will actually stand against that particular country. I mean, it is for the same reason that South Africa, the apartheid South Africa, was not accepted, because it was not treating its citizens properly, but it was also not treating those who come into the country and are supportive of the citizens properly. So the same thing will happen if you go to any other country in the continent, even abroad, and the citizens of that country are not friendly to the people. It's going to affect them economically. It's going to affect their social and political status. Therefore, it is important, it is incumbent that when we leave, because in the first place, we have accepted that people can come into the country. When we have accepted them, then we must be able to live harmoniously. But we must also be alive to the fact that things can go wrong. We must be able to properly handle those kind of things. I want to give you examples.
Go ahead.
When we lived in Zimbabwe, in Botswana, we were integrated with the communities. There was no problem. But in Botswana, in particular, there was immediately population explosion, because there were Zimbabwean refugees, there were Angolan refugees, there were South African refugees, there were Namibian refugees. And the population of that country was so small that these people could actually overrun in terms of population. It was therefore incumbent for the government in Botswana to make sure that they put us in a particular place and they regulate us there. As it happens, almost everybody wants to come to South Africa. Everybody is interested in South Africa. Now, the difference in this case is that when we were there, we were political refugees. The people who have come into our country are political, they are economical, they are social. All sorts of people come into our country. Now, the government must make sure that they regulate these people so that the ordinary person in South Africa does not become restive. You have to belong to your organization. I see there is someone who says, I am a representative of a particular group. There must be engagement from time to time between our government, our authorities, and those particular people, vice versa. But in the event that we are not able to find each other, then we can appeal to the United Nations. Otherwise, we are going to find that South Africans cannot be accepted now in Mozambique, in Zambia, where they are traveling. South Africans are all over the country, the continent. And if this is what is happening in our country. South Africans are actually going to find and experience the anger of the people they are going to. So it is not just a matter of Durban or Soweto. It is something that is going to affect us all over the continent. But let us also be mindful that when we open our borders, we should not be porous. We should not open them for each and every Tom, Dick, and Harry. We must say people who belong to a particular country have got a responsibility to their own country to develop their economy. They can't just abandon their country and all of them find the work here, because there's going to be this competition. And in South Africa, there are unions, there are labor laws. A South African will immediately appeal if there is a problem between herself and the employer. Mm-hmm. Now, if the employer finds it easy to get another person from another country, that becomes a problem, because you are now bringing the two individuals into conflict. So it's a bigger problem that cannot only be tackled by government, but by society. You must also educate on the ground. I'm saying, in 2008, this thing happened. Mm-hmm. How does it happen for the second time? It means that we went to slumber after 2008. We papered on the cracks just on the surface and thought that we have solved the problem. But it is a continuous basis, because people keep on coming. Mm-hmm. Remember that as we are talking now, there is somebody who's entering the country with a passport, without a passport. Mm-hmm. And that now we must go and find that person who has entered without a passport. You can't just find somebody from Nigeria into Mthatha when the chief of a village in Mthatha does not know who are the people. With us in Zimbabwe, with us in Botswana, when we came from Soweto and entered Tlokweng, immediately the chief knows that there is somebody from South Africa who has entered. Mm. Let's find out why he's here. Let's give him sanctuary, let's give him food, but at the same time, he's got skills. Mm-hmm. I became a teacher. I formed 2 secondary schools in Botswana because they taped into my skills, and I became productive.
But Strike, you know, speaking of education, ngifuna ukuyibuyisela eThekwini lento. Uphinde umthembiseni ngabe inhlanganiso yeni yabafundisa nabantu ukuthi why kumele sihlanganisane nalabantu kanti futhi sisebenzisane nabo, because they contribute a lot to the South African economy. Bayakwazi lokho abantu.
Mhlambe angazi dadewethu noma nginelungelo lokubuza ku strike. Njengomuntu osuka phansi emazingeni abantu ngoba nami nginakho ukudideka, bengicela ukuthola imvume kuwe kuqala. Yebo bhuti, qhubeka. Noma nginalo ilungelo lokubuza. Okay. Mhlambe into esuke isithe lapha ile ukuthi bathi o strike sometimes bathi bese kudingisweni. Umbuzo esinawo uthini ukuthi mhlambe bona bese kudingisweni. Ngabe lezi zinto ezenzeka eSouth Africa babezenza yini bese kudingisweni? Uma kuya babengazenzi, kunganike le mpilo ababeyiphila ngale bakwazi ukuthi bazoyenza la, ngoba iyona nto thina nje esisuka phansi kubantu abaphansi ukuthi akuyona esidawo ukuthi bathi abantu sekudingisweni sasiphethe, kodwa uthola ukuthi la abantu into eyinkinga abasixake ngawo la ngeke sikubalekele lokho dadewethu ukuthi la emakhaya noma la emadrobheni into esixaka kakhulu idakamizwa. Idakamizwa seziqedile izingane, so lezi idakamizwa ezikhona aziqhamuki kubantu abayilocal, ziqhamuke ukugeleza kwabafowethu bokufika. Engicabanga ukuthi ke umuntu okufala aphendule kabanzi mhlawumbe uwona yiwo o strike ukuthi mhlawumbe bona lamazayo kona yebo ma.
Ngicela ungene emlonyeni nje lapho asikhulume singa blame mhlawumbe abantu abathize for especially ama drugs, ngoba ama drugs kade abakhona la eMzansi Africa but
ngiyaxolisa kodwa bekufanele ngidlule lapho ngoba iyona into esixake endaweni zabantu. Engicabanga ukuthi ke abafuthi mabefika kufanele bathole into efana. Cha ke lapha thina kwese njengobunye siyakusho ukuthi dadewethu ukuthi isilo asikubeke caca, azange sisho ukuthi abantu ababulawa, azange sisho futhi ukuthi ukuthathwe impahla zabantu. Esisho ukuthi nesokuthi akuhlalweni phansi xokiswa nabafowethu. Mhlawumbe ke enye into efika ixaka kubona nabo bayiqhelanisa nomphakathi. Engicabanga ukuthi nabo kufanele bafunde ukuthi kuyeka kanjani kubantu abaphila nabo ikhona umngcelo khona. Engicabanga ukuthi kufanele sikwazi ukuthi siwuhlanganise sikwazi ukuphilisana kanye nabo ngoba kahle ngempela bona ukudayisa abadayisi okube kusishaya futhi ukuthi mhlawumbe ke nakho indlela abadayisa ngayo inhle kodwa manje uma uthi uyabheka nempahla abayidayisa ukuthi siyesibuke sathi mhlawumbe nakhona uma beyidayisa mhlawumbe bayithenga siyafisa ukuthi leyo abayilokhu zawo bayidayise bayithenge lapha elokhuzeni ilokho esikushothi.
Ephraim, what do you say to that? I mean, he's raising issues about, drugs are a very big problem in South Africa. And a lot of people, and we're taking a stance against this. It's not every foreigner that sells or brings drugs in South Africa. But what is your organization's stance when you get these accusations and you find that people are not really informed? Are you doing anything to further inform these people that obviously do not have the information and they just judge?
Okay. In concerns of this drug, drug is destroying the life of young children, youngsters, and the people of one country. So really, I condemn people who are dealing with the drugs. Really, that is destroying the country. But I can claim that if you come to the side of Ethiopian community, I can give 100% guarantee no one of them dealing with the drug. As you can see them, they are going to the locations, they are doing spada shop or supermarket business or a touch shop business. If you come to town, they are operating with the clothing business, blanket or this bedding business. Otherwise, they don't involve in this drug and the drug deals. I can give you guarantee about that.
Thank you so much. But Strike ngiyabona na ufuna ukusho something awufako wakho umbono but
ngithi ku Babuthusi with our experience we first of all were political exiles. We were political refugees. But as political refugees, because we were coming into the host countries in numbers, there were those amongst us who were also taking advantage of the situation, who are basic thugs. In our case, they were taking cars outside to go and sell cars. And later on, they interacted with wrong elements who did not pay them in cash money, but instead gave them drugs. Now, when they come into the country, it is the responsibility of the immigration officers, the intelligence, the police everywhere to identify what is the business of this particular person. I can tell you that people were arrested and were able, even within, because you see, when you are political, you also know that people can actually mess up your story by mingling with you and doing things that are wayward. So you must also protect yourself.
Thank you for that.
Now, there is a perception that a certain group of people deals in drugs. And I must agree that it can't be everyone.
Well known.
But I must also accept that there are those who deal in drugs. Now, our intelligence, our immigration officers, our police must pick up these people, isolate them, and stop this carnage because it is also destroying. And when your child is being killed by these things, the human element is that anybody who looks like that other one,
you put the blame on anybody.
You want to lump them
Asibeke lapho put Strike mbukeli yithi phuthi sibuyele ngaseyitolo. Please join us shortly after this commercial break. Welcome back mbukeli yazi namhlanje sitheni nathi ake sizibandakanye nodaba olukhulu kakhulu sonke sibonile indlela okuphathwe ngayo phela abantu bamazwe angaphandle kulamaviki ambalwa adlulile sizama namhlanje phela ukunazisa kabanzi ngezizathu zokuthi phela kungani ngempela kumele sibamukele futhi sisebenzisane nabo abantu bokuhamba. We are joined by Mr. Strike Tokwane, who spent many years in exile in various countries, especially in the African continent, and from our Durban studios in Bhuti uMthembiseni Thusi yena ukhulumela umbutho ubunye bamahostele nezakhiwo zawo. Sinaye futhi no Mr. Zizi Kodwa we-ANC on the line, as well as Ubud Ephraim. All right, Zizi, thank you so much for joining us once again ohlelweni. Bhuti, ngicela usichazele nje kabandli. We want to know, i-image ye South Africa took so many years ukuthi ibuildwe. Siqalaphi manje to try and rebuild that image as South Africans?
Kuzodingeka ukuthi wena Alicia sisebenzisane sonke. Mangithi sonke uhulumeni kuphela ngeke kwenze yedwa lokho, because the reputation isinayo ibihlonishwa kakhulu kwihlabathi lonke. Ayenzwanga nguhulumeni kuphela, ayenzwanga ANC kuphela. Usho ukuthi le constitution mawuhamba kumazwe ngamazwe bekhulunywa ngayo kuthiwa is the best in the world. Kuzodingeka thina ke manje sibonakalise singabantu baseNingizimu okokuqala ukuthi lokhu kwenzekile ngempela lephutha. Ingcosana nje abantu abakwenze lokhu sibonakalise ukuthi lokhu kwenzekile ngeke kuphinde kwenzeke. And kusho ukuthi kunezinto ezithize that we must say honestly in public, including nokuthi ukwenzela lento ingaphindi yenzeke. Abafethu bokufika sihlalisane nabo, kunento ezithize funeka sizenze ingaze iphinde yenzeke lento. Bese ngishilo ngaphambilini into ezibhekene nemisebenzi yamabhizinisi, ukuthi abantu bangena kanjani lento kuthiwa immigration ngapha emingceleni. Sazi ukuthi akakho umuntu onophinda simnikeze isizathu sokuthi aphinde enze lento ingcolisele igama lethu kangaka. Kuzothatha isikhathi sona khona ukuthi siphinde sibuyele lapha ngendlela ebesihlonishwa ngayo lehlabathi. Kuzothatha isikhathi impela.
Zizi, look, siqala njani lapha, because it seems that the core issue here is ama-attitude abantu towards ama-foreign nationals. Yini mhlampe niyenzayo nini ukuthi phela ningene umkhakha wokuthi nizame ukuconvince abantu ba-understande lezi zinto sitshela ngazo ukuthi i-affecta i-business confidence, i-affecta i-pride kanye ne-image yaleli hlabathi worldwide?
Okuzosiza Jali ukuthi asenze esingakhange sikwenze ngaphambilini. Njengesishilo umongameli phambi ko-1994 uma sithola inkululeko asizange kahle bachazele abantu bakithi inkululeko kusho ukuthini. Okwesibili, asizange kahle sibatshela abantu baxoxele nje sibele inkulumo yezwe, siyisize sibele inkulumo ukuthi yibo bani abasizile nathi sesithola inkululeko. Ngoba abanye abantu nje bazocabanga ukuthi yithi kuphela sazibela inkululeko sayithola le nkululeko sinayo, kanti kunabantu abasisize ngendlela eyisimanga ukuthi sibe la sikhona manje. Kuzodingeka ke sibuyele emuva sifundisane sisize sazi ukuthi i-South Africa ngeke ize iphile yodwa kuphela. Isebenzisana namanye amazwe. Uma ungena nje eSwaziland, uma ungena eZimbabwe, uma ungena eZambia, enye into uyibonayo uma ukhamba e-South Africa ungacabanga ukuthi usesentini. Ama-companies ase-South Africa kulamazwe ayisimanga inqwaba. Ukhuluma ngama-companies amancane okudla afana neNando's, uya ko-Sasol, uya kwamanye Pick n Pay, o-Checkers, kugcwele wona. Usho ukuthi ngendlela esenza ngayo isiza umnotho wezwe. Okwesibili, isiza umnotho we-Afrika ukuthi nawo uthuthuke, ngoba ngeke sikwazi uba sistophe abantu abafethu abaqhamuka kumanye amazwe abafuna uza eNingizimu, ngoba uMningizimu unawo amathuba angcono angekho kwamanye amazwe ngezizathu ezithize ezaziwayo ukuthi ngempela umbangazo wawuncinyezele i-Afrika yonke, kodwa i-South Africa isingcono kunamanye amazwe akhona eNingizimu.
Siyabonga kakhulu kuZizi Kodwa on the line, and we're going to keep him on the line there. Sithukubheka nje ama-Facebook messages wenu emakhaya. Ubhanqo Khangela uthi ma-Afrika masinyameni asijikeni le meko sijikeni le ndaba. Usandile Uncle Den Ngubane athi no, the cost of such actions is too great, especially now that we are known to be living in a country that is celebrating freedom. We can't say we are free if we keep doing what we are doing. Xenophobic attacks hamper the progress we are trying to make as a country. This matter is far from being resolved. Yes, the attacks may have quietened, but the cost of these actions is great. That is very worrying indeed, from one of our viewers at home, Usandile Uncle Ben Ngubane. Usipho Sera maningi uti, can we afford to be dealing with issues that are not the root cause ye xenophobia? Speak out Mbukeli sixoxele ukuthi wena ucabanga ukuthi yini. Uthi ngesizulu sithi isilonda silashwa kwinhlamvu yakhona. Usipho Seroto ati, I think we really cannot afford xenophobic attitudes. The action we take today about the other African foreign nationals might impact the future. Let's treat each other well and solve problems by verbal communication without applying physical action to get the attention against foreign nationals. We are all Africans on the African soil. Very great views coming through from Ababugeli Betu Emaka. You know what I found interesting when I put strike was the time abantu baqala ukuthi balalele mesekuthiwa ama-truck ase South Africa akasakhona ukusebenza yongena eMozambique, ama-artists ase South Africa akasakhona ukuyoperforma ngaphandle. Baqala abantu bazibuza ke manje ukuthi kahle kahle ngabe lento esiyenzayo iyenzana, what are the long-term effects? Awusichazele kabanzi futhi.
I think lack of exposure. The ordinary South African, ukhulela elokishini uphela elokishini, or ukhulela in a village uphela lapha, akazange move around to understand ukuthi in the same way as people have come here, nathi we also go to other places. So it's very myopic. But I also want to bring in the element of integration. I say, when we went to neighboring countries, Lesotho, Swaziland, Botswana, we could more or less also understand the languages.
Kancane nje ngithi ukuthatha uSithembi on the line sizoqhubeka nempendulo yakho. Sithembi siyakwamukela from eHillbrow online sis.
Yebo ngiyabingelela nami.
Siyaphila sisiqhubeka.
Into ezokwenzeka nje ngibona ngathi besinganaka learning lethu ukuthi makwenzeka kanje sisikwaza ngowethu. Ngoba khona manje kunama students amaningi ayayahandisa ofunda kwamanye amazwe. Vele wonke umuntu ke akadudule ashone kweyakhe indawo lapho uma khona kuzokwenzakalani. Ngoba isikhathi esiningi kuningi esadefende kwamanye amazwe. Lento eyenzakalayo ikhoza umona, akusikuthi abantu bathathela umsebenzi. Ngoba mangase umona kwenziweni ukuthi nababaxosha babathathela impahla zabo babamoshele. Engabe ke at least bahamba naloko abafika nako. Umuntu uma uhlangana nesitratini vele umbulala. Kuzokwenzakalani mhlawumbe lo muntu ushiya ingane esikoleni, mhlawumbe omunye agule oyimember yefamily, uzosala nje kanjalo lo nosele. Abantu bala bachashwa yibo labantu bokufika ikakhulukazi. Uyabona nje ngike ngaye town ngathola kuvaliwe. Most abantu abachashiwe labantu abafikayo. Mangabe ubaxosha labantu baningi wabona bala abazoluza imisebenzi. Futhi labantu abafiki namathende banikwa yithi indawo zokuhlala ngoba sifuna ukusupportana thina. Sihambe sibathengele ukuba zange sibathengele kwasekuqaleni ngoba sesikhala manje ngaba zange baqhubeka namabhizinisi abo yabona.
Siyabonga kakhulu.
Le ama-drugs sithi sengcini lama-drugs abamforced umuntu usukazi ukuthi i-drug yenzani umuntu bawathatha bona babathengisele abawabhemayo basha bathapha ukwazi ukuphuma kublame abantu bokufika ababavula imilomo abababhemisi ngenkani yibo abazizelayo babenzela ibhizinisi laba abathengisayo abawabhemi bona. Ngiyabonga.
Thank you so much, Sis Thembi from eHillbrow there. Well, ubhizi uthi sisi iqala lento kumona abekho abantu abafika la bazothatha imisebenzi. These people are the ones that actually provide le misebenzi eBoot Strike. Siyazi ke wonke umuntu uhlaletha ama drugs enziwe ubani, but we all know ama drugs they originate in any area. Akusho ukuthi afike nabantu bangaphandle. Boot Strike.
Let's make a balance, ne? We must not hear debate ukuthi South Africans are wrong 100% or abantu bokufika they are wrong 100%. Let us find a middle of the road to say what has caused this. We must condemn ukuthi abantu babulawe batshontshelwe impahla zabo in stores. That is very bad. If you see it, it's not right. But at the same time, this is what a Botswana parliamentarian says. Ukuthi, but South Africans, how do you expose your ailing economy to business, to people from elsewhere, and run over a basic economy like a spaza shop? It will create a problem in the long run when each and every spaza shop is not owned by a South African or is owned by somebody else. That will cause some kind of a tension. So what we want to say is we have to intervene and balance so that you can exchange our skills. I told you of my experience. I was asked to teach. Not that there were no teachers in Botswana. But not all teachers were South Africans or abantu bokufika. That would have caused a problem. So we're exchanging skills. I was coming to the issue of the language. That language plays such an important role and part in social interactions and interactions that umuntu who is attempting to speak your language, you tend to accept. So Nati, let us go out to Labantu, abokufika, and sibafundise ukuthi come and stay with us, buy into our cultures and values. Because if you don't do that, the ordinary person sees you as somebody who just comes to take and go away. If they start businesses, they must be able to employ South Africans, but also to teach South Africans. I think this thing is not just a one-way street, that some people are doing this thing, others are not. It's important to have meetings where the ordinary South Africans should be exposed to Somalis in their own situation. Go to Yuval.
Bootstrike, you know, you have so much knowledge because it's so much better that you actually speaking on something that you experienced. I was reading your profile and I understand with your refugee status, you went to some countries guarded by that country's laws and you still had your little, you know, misfits in terms of the law, but also having to be returned or taken elsewhere. There is crime in this country, yes, but it's not all foreigners that commit that crime. And we also want to say that xenophobia is wrong, whether in any way or form. That's our stand here. Asiphinde-ke futhi siyokhokha izikweletu zethu ngokushesha. Mbukeli, please don't go anywhere. Sikwamukele futhi mbukeli, remember ukubamba iqhaza endabeni yethu ngokuthi siqhubeka kanjani emva kwama-xenophobic attacks. Please call our studio line on 011-714-6918 or 714-6919. Our email address is consume@sabc.co.za or visit us on our social media platforms or tweet me at Alisha Jali #Yilungelo Lakho. Ngihlezi nezivakashi ezinkulu. Phuthuma-ke ubeke owakho umbona noma umbuzo. Ake sithathe some of your Facebook messages. Babukeli usiyabulela Stofile uthi let's stop xenophobia, guys. Please, yintoni lento sihwitana kwasodwa ingathi asingoma Afrika sizenza inhlekisa kwamanye amazwe. Preach, siyabulela. Thank you for that. Rim Tombeni Gold ethi asibambaneni ma #Africa asingaxabani sodwa asixoxisaneni makukhona okungahambi kahle ayiphele lento phansi izikhali umuntu ngabantu. Awu siyabonga kakhulu lapha ya ku Rim Tombeni. Umthobisi Clementino Mthethwa, our laws and constitution has been trivialized by persons avoiding civility. Persons who perpetrate this violence should be incarcerated off rather to foreign jails. I am because we are one. Kwamthethwa empangeni. How siyabonga kakhulu babukeli. It seems like, you know, from the general reactions from our viewers to Bootstrike, it seems that abantu ngempela ngathi cha bayibona lento ukuthi ngempela ibingekho right lento ebiyenzeka. But I want to go back to Durban ngibuze ubhuti uMthembiseni. Bhuti Mthembiseni, asiqhubekeleni phambili manje siyazi ukuthi iqaliwe izolo ukuthi phela kubuyiselwe labantu back to ama communities abo. Awusixoxela ukuthi ngalapho eThekwini kuhamba kanjani mayindale nalento?
Mhlawumbe angisho ukuthi abantu oqala balizwile ikhwelo lesilo ukuthi abantu ababeke phansi izikhali and labo abebevale emabhizinisi abo bawavule. Ngakho siyacabanga ukuthi zonke indawo lezi bezithintekile bavulile. Kodwa engakusho ukuthi kubalekile ukuthi siuchele lo moya ukuthi siubunye bamahostela dadewethu siyakugxeka ngakho konke indlela okwenzeke ngayo. Siyafisa ukuthi abantu abala eKZN envamza abasegoluqobo lwabo bayiyeke lento ngoba uma uyibuka kahle hle ayinakho ukwakha. Esikushoke ukuthi lamathimba lawa ajudwe upresident wethu awenza isiqinisekiso sokuthi bayaya laphana ukusiza abaholi phansi ekuthenini laba bafowethu ababexoshwe izitolo zabo babuyele ngendlela ngoba uma bezobuyela kungaxhunyananga nobuholi kahle hle ngendlela kuyohlupha futhi lokho kodwa isinxusa kona uma kungenzeka ngalokho siyafisa ukuthi ababadedele bakwazi ukuvula izitolo zabo ebese ke amathimba kanye nathi singabaholi bomphakathi singalindi ugovernment uqobo lwawo thina uqobo lwethu asikhulumisane nabo bafuna abohamba sihlala nabo phansi sibabe sihlala nabo eduze sibone ukuthi siqhubeka kanjani esisho ukuthi ukuthi asizenzele thina ugovernment afike kukhona sesikwenzile ngiyacabanga uma senze lokho no government uyobona ukuthi sikhona singabaholi lokho esikusho thina sabe samlinda asiqhubeke ukuze nesilo sikwazi ukuthi sikhululeke sibone ukuthi sihola isizwe esilalelayo enye into engiyibonayo ile ukuthi abantu bahathe ngokudinwa bangayibuka ezinye izinto uyabona uma ubuka ebhedlela kuyiqiniso ofanele singalibalekile ukuthi odokotela abaningi manje abantu base-Afrika lesikhathi uxosha labo bantu fanele sibuke ukuthi ikhona ingozi ezenzeka kulezo nsuku siyacela ukuthi izinto enjalo siyibheke nanokuthi sineqembu lesizokudinga ukuyodlala ngaphandle okungasiphatha kabi ukuthi iqembu lesizomali hambile lingaphandle mhlambe eEthiopia okuphi naphi lifike liphathwe kabi abaculi bethu siyafisa ukuthi bakwazi.
Alright but alright ngizobuyela kuwena khona manje ngifuna ukuthatha uChristina la online from eGauteng. Sis Christina siyabonga ukuthi ubambe ucingo sisi umbono noma umbuzo.
Hello Auntie.
Hello sisi siyaphila please sicela uqhubeke nombuzo noma umbono.
Mpuso ya ka ke kuri ke batla o tseba nna e re ke kale ke re nna ke a sebetsa ha ke sebetsa batho ba ha bang affect ka next. So hona le batho ba ne ba iqalletse di-business tsa bona tse nyane ska bo di-tech shop bo di-dressmaking hona ke mo locationeng mo Katlehong di-shopo di kwetse tsene e le bo di-supermarket batho ba ha ba reka in bulk wena ha le fihla o re wa reka disithatha sakho sao ha sa sebetsa hantle batho ba wile ba wisitse ke batho ba
okay
bulayana yona a sintho e right so why rona batho ba South Africa re sa kopaneng.
Okay, mange but sesiphelelwe isikhathi. Thank you so much. That is Umam Christina from eGauteng. Asibambe lapho mbukeli siphinde sibuele eDolo. And when we return from the break, we'll take a look at what many see as a South African community in Gauteng as a shining example of coexistence between locals and foreigners. This is after this community witnessed the chilling 2008 incidents of xenophobia on its streets. Ungaphutela.
Ngonyaka ka-2008 indawo yase-Diepsloot esenyakatho yeGoli yayiyinye yezindawo ezazibhoke kakhulu ngokuhlaselwa kwabantu bokufika. Inqwaba yabantu bokufika yaphoqeleka ukuthi beshiye lapho sebehlala khona. Iningi labo laba wondingasithebeni kanti abanye babulawa.
My brother chased away in 2008 and he didn't even come back here. I came back here in 2013 and I'm here to sell these peanuts for my child is there in Zimbabwe, she's suffering. So I'm just here to work.
Ekuhambeni kwesikhathi baqala kancane ukubuya. Kanti emva kweminyaka yesikhombisa eDiepsloot sekuyikhaya labaningi kubantu bokufika. uMuhammad Abi uthumela izinkwa kwenye yezitolo kule ndawo. Usehlale lapha eMzantsi Afrika iminyaka engu-8. Kanti uzolana kakhulu nozakwabo abayizisulu zokuhlaselwa abayidlazana bakuleli.
We are all same, we are all Africans. We mustn't kill each other and burn each other.
Njengoba bake basibona isihluku sokuhlaselwa kwabantu
Killed the people for nothing. Was what is xenophobia? I want to know.
Abantu mabathathele abantu babamukele njengabantu bakubo or igazi labo bangababulali.
Not xenophobia. All Africans are all over the world, even South Africans, they are also in Zimbabwe, but no one is chasing after them.
Inqwaba yezitolo kule ndawo ziphethwe abantu bokufika kanye nabantu bakhona lapha eMzantsi Afrika kanti basebenzisana ngokuthula. Kanti umphakathi wakhona iwona ozuzayo ngalokhu ngokuba nezitolo eseduzane nabo. Imiphakathi eminingi yalapha eMzantsi Afrika ingafunda okukhulu lapha eDiepsloot.
kwaze kwancomeka ke lokho esiqeda ukubona ithi nje ngithatha ama gentlemen in Durban ukuthi bavalelise. Gentlemen, but Ephraim, we want to hear from you. With the current efforts by the whole country and the government, is this acceptable? Is this enough? Do you feel safe now in terms of the reintegration? Are you ready to come back and coexist with us in South Africa?
Okay.
Very quickly, sir. Very quickly.
Honestly speaking, I appreciate the effort of government and the people of South Africa. And the direction of South African people gave at all. I'm very happy with it.
All right, thank you so
really,
much.
I was very disappointed.
Thank you so much, Ephraim. And gentlemen, unfortunately, that is where we have to end our show today. Hi, Gembugeli. Let me thank our studio guests for making time to be with us. Noguthi phela nokunicebisa ngendlela engcono yokwenza izinto masihlangane bantu bakithi ubuntu mabuqhubeke sihlalisane ezweni lethu phansi izikhali kwanele manje. Yithi futhi ke ngiphinde ngibonge nani babukeli ngeqhaza enilibambile namhlanje. Do join us again next week Friday for another live consumer show. For repeats of Yilungelo Lakho, please tune into this channel every Monday from 12 midday kuya ku 1 o'clock. For myself, for Alishintombi and the whole team, Nisale Kahle. Until next time, and remember, let's join hands to say no to xenophobia. Nisale Kahle.